Okay, so good morning, everybody. So last time I explained scope and weight, okay, for flow and error control. Last time I told you the idea of stop and wait is every time the sender sends a frame, it has to wait until you acknowledge it, okay, and acknowledge this frame. And if I don't receive acknowledgement in a certain time out, or if I don't receive the acknowledgement, like in this case here, you sent a frame, I didn't receive the acknowledgement in a certain time out, I'm going to retransmit the frame again. Okay, so this approach is called stop and wait. You can tell from the English name. You transmit, you stop, here is stop transmission and wait. Transmit, stop transmission and wait, and so on. And last time I told you what is bad about this one. What is bad about this scheme is bad utilization of the channel, okay? Because you have to wait. Waiting is bad. You have a channel, you can transmit, but you are not transmitting. You transmit one frame and then you wait. Waiting is bad, right? Because you don't utilize the resources, the channel you have, okay? So, and in order to convince you or to better understand the idea, example one, this example and this example also are really very important. So in this example, I told you last time, we have something we call it bandwidth delay product, okay? And bandwidth delay product is gonna tell you, as I said before, if you have a channel or if you have a cable or a channel, okay? It's going to tell you how many bits I need to transmit in order to fill up the channel, okay? Because they are going to be in transit, okay, or in flight. So how many bits I have to transmit in order to fully utilize of the channel, okay? I want to occupy the whole channel. So the same cable can have several bits at different locations this way. Okay, so this can be so for example, when I multiply the bandwidth product delay, I find it is 10,000 bits. That means if I transmit 10,000 bits, I'm gonna fully utilize of the cable, okay, because the cable is gonna be full of bits, okay. And also I told you here, as I told you, you have to transmit and then you have to wait for acknowledgement. So you have to transmit a frame, you have to wait for acknowledgement, okay? So the time here is going to be double the time, because time to go and come back, okay? That's why here, how many bits you have to transmit until you receive acknowledgement is actually double bandwidth delay. Again, bandwidth delay is simply how many bits you need to transmit to occupy or to fully use of one way, okay? But here, because you sent a frame and you wait for acknowledgement, so the time here is going to be double the time, because time to go and come back, okay? So that means I can transmit during this time, I can transmit up to 2 times bandwidth delay product, which is 20,000 bits, okay? And I told you in this example, every frame is 1,000. That means I can transmit 20 frames before I receive acknowledgement. So for the time when I transmit a frame and then I receive acknowledgement, during this time, I can transmit 20 frames during this time, but I only transmit 1 frame. And because transmit 1 and then I'm gonna wait, okay? That's why the utilization was really too bad. It was 5%. I use 5% of the channel capacity I have. So bad, okay? And in order to solve this problem, that's what we are going to do in the coming scheme. So in the next scheme here, we call it a sliding window. In order to solve this problem in the sliding window, okay, I'm going to allow you to transmit more than 1 frame before you receive acknowledgement. You got what I'm saying? So this is the idea here. So the idea here, it is allowed. I'm going to allow you. Instead, this is the main difference between this one and this one. You should understand you should understand how this scheme works. You should understand what is bad about this one. That's why you are going to improve using what we call sliding window or pipeline line schemes. Okay. So what is bad about this one? You don't fully utilize the channel. Okay, because you transmit some data and you wait for acknowledgement. This one, no, you can keep submitting. You can keep submitting. So instead of submitting one frame and wait, I can submit, I can send, sorry, not submit, send, I'm sorry. So you can send multiple frames, okay, and then you can receive the acknowledgement later. Okay, for example, I think this is very good picture here. If you see this picture here, you sent one frame or one packet, and then I'm gonna wait, right? So I don't fully utilize the cable. However, what we're gonna do right now to improve the idea is, as you see here, you can send multiple frames. They are in transition, in flight, we call it in flight. Okay, and then after that you receive acknowledge. Maybe this acknowledgement here. This acknowledgement here is acknowledgement for the one here, and this acknowledgement here, okay, maybe for this one here. You got what I'm saying? After I receive it, no, sorry, this should be for old ones. So this acknowledgement for old ones I already received in the, this one are still in transition. These ones are not acknowledged. I should have received here several ones. So this one for maybe for one of the old frames I already received. Okay. So the idea here is that, as you see here, I'm not expecting one acknowledgement for every frame. Okay. But I can send multiple frames. Okay. And then I can receive acknowledgement later for these frames in order to fully utilize the channel. I want to keep submitting. Sorry, keep sending. I don't know why I use the word submitting. Keep sending. Okay. Any questions? So again, so this approach, sliding window, can improve the channel utilization. I can utilize the channel better for sure, and this can for sure increase the bit rate or frame rate. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Under the sliding window, there are two approaches I'm going to explain. One approach is called go back in, and the other approach is called selective repeat. What is that? Both of them are going to use the sliding window. Okay, and you understand what I mean by sliding window shortly. But what is the difference between these two? The difference between these two is when an error happens, okay? So I'm telling you here, you submit frames, okay? So now we have several frames here. We have several frames in transition, okay? So the question is that if an error happened here in this frame, so this frame was lost. This frame was lost, okay? How I can fix the situation? There are two approaches. One approach called go back in. Go back in means I'm gonna retransmit this one and everything after this one. So this one and everything after it. Okay? Even if these ones are delivered. So even if they are delivered correctly, that's what we call go back in. In is the size of the window, as you will understand shortly. So go back in means if a frame, there is a problem in the frame, in one frame, I'm gonna retransmit this frame and everything after this frame as well. Right? That's what we will go back in. Okay. And we can even improve this idea more. And that's what we call selective. You can tell from the English name, selective. So in selective, I'm not gonna retransmit the other ones. Once there is an error, I'm gonna only transmit this one, the one that has an error. You get what I'm saying? So anyway, you will understand better now. So at least for now, you should understand. You should understand, number one, what's bad about this one. You should understand why this one does not utilize the channel well. This is number one. Number two, you should understand in order to solve this problem, we are going to use a sliding window. You should understand in a sliding window, I'm not going to transmit a frame and then wait for acknowledgement. No, I'm going to transmit 15 frames and then I'm going to receive acknowledgement for the frames I already sent before. You got what I'm saying? So I'm not going to transmit one and wait. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay. That's why this one is better, because you can have like a pipeline. You can just keep transmitting, which is you can utilize, you can fully utilize the channel, which is good. However, if there is an error, okay, if these are the frames I have, I already transmitted, but I have an error in one frame. How can I fix this situation? There are two different approaches. One approach is called to go back in. Go back in means I'm gonna retransmit all the frames starting from this frame and also next one, even if they are delivered. Okay, as you will understand better what I'm saying. This one is better. We call it selective. Selective means if there is a mistake in one frame, I'm gonna only transmit this frame. I'm not gonna transmit the other ones. Yes, what's your question? Yeah. لا, well, the sender should be able to know this is duplicated. You got what I'm saying? You mean there is a confusion, or look here, look. For sure, we can agree there is like you duplicate, because if this one's already delivered, why you have to send again, right? That's why it's not a good idea, right? The second one is better idea. It's selective, because I'm gonna only transmit the frames that are not delivered. But you should ask me, if this is a bad idea, why you are teaching us the bad idea? Why you do not teach us a good idea and that's it? Because the bad is not always bad, right? So yes, it's a bad idea because you are gonna transmit several, you are gonna duplicate the transmission, but the scheme is simple. It's simple, it doesn't need a lot of resources. As you will see right now, when I move, that's what you should learn. When I move from here to here, yes, I improved the utilization, but I have to pay the cost for that. The scheme is going to be more complicated. Same thing when I move from here to here, yes, I'm not gonna retransmit the frames that already delivered. I'm not gonna do that, which is a good idea, but there is a cost. The cost is more overhead, more complicated. So, regarding more hardware, more complicated, okay, more difficult, more complicated, okay. Yes, so every time we go here, yes, we can have a better scheme, but it's going to be more complicated to implement the idea. Got what I'm saying? So here, so number one, we should understand the motivations. What our motivation to move to, what is bad about this one and what we're going to move to this one. You should understand the idea here. As I said, I'm not going to wait acknowledgement for each frame. Instead, I'm going to transmit multiple frames, and then I can receive acknowledgement later for the frames I already sent before. You got what I'm saying? So, for example, I sent a frame number 7, 2, 7, 8, 9, 10, for example. So these frames, I already transmitted these frames. And then after, sorry, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So this frame number 6, frame number 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So, and then after I transmit frame number 10, I received acknowledgement for 6. Okay. Like delayed acknowledgement. Okay. Instead of sending frame number 6 and wait is bad. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna transmit 6, 7, 8, 10, and then I'm gonna receive. Okay. So now, yeah. So I'm gonna start with the first one. Go back in. Okay. So you'll understand what the English name go back in and what is in. You will understand it better now. And now I'm gonna come to the concept of window. I'm gonna create a window of. Window means a group of frames. Look how it works. Okay, you understand what I want to do? What I want to do, I want to keep submitting. Okay, and then I can receive delayed acknowledgement. That's what I want to do. How I can implement it using the idea of window. You will see right now. Look here. These are the frames I want to translate. So we have frame. This is the number of the frame. Frame 13, 14, 15. This is how I number. So the way I number it, from 0 until 14, 15, and then from 0 to 15, and so on. These are all frames. Is that okay? I already set the frame number 13. I set acknowledgement. 14 is okay, 15 is okay. So these frames already acknowledged. Set and acknowledged. They are done. Is that okay? Now I'm gonna create a window. And this window, the size of this window, we call it N. And in this case, N is 15. So 15 frames. So this was a window. Okay. Wait a second. Okay. So we have a window this way. This window, as you see here. And then I have a pointer here. I call it SF. So this pointer is pointed at. I will submit. I will say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I didn't receive acknowledgement yet. So I sent the trace from 0 to 6. But I didn't receive the acknowledgement yet. Is that okay? So this one is pointing at the beginning of the window. So side of the window is fixed. In this case, we call it 10. But in this case, it's 15. So side always 15. Is that okay? What can happen here is 7, 8, 9, 10, and until 14, this frames, it is allowed. It's allowed to transmit these frames. You got what I'm saying? So what's gonna happen here? We have another pointer here. Every time if when I transmit 7, this pointer is gonna move this way. When I transmit 8, this pointer is gonna move this way. Is that okay? So every time I transmit one frame, this pointer is gonna move this way. Is that okay? Now, one of two things can happen. One of two things can happen. Number one, I receive the acknowledgement for 0. If I receive acknowledgement for 0, what it means? It means 0 is delivered. So what I'm gonna do, the switch is gonna slide. The window is gonna slide. That means I'm gonna move. If I receive acknowledgement for 0, this one is gonna move to here. So the window will be this way. And because the window is, so here I'm gonna insert one more. So when I receive acknowledgement for one frame, the window is gonna fly, and then I'm gonna insert, I'm gonna allow it to transmit one more, right? So every time I receive acknowledgement, the window is gonna move. Okay. Now, if there is a mistake and you didn't receive acknowledgement, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? I transmit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, until 15. It's not allowed to go outside, so I cannot do a 0. Only I can transmit frames in this way. That okay? So if I come to 13, so in this case we say the window is exhausted. Window is exhausted. You exhausted the window. Okay? That means I transmitted all these frames and I didn't receive any acknowledgement for any one of them yet. Because every time I receive acknowledgement, I'm gonna slide. In this case, what's gonna happen? So something is wrong happened. Okay, something wrong happened. And in this case, I'm gonna go back. That's why it's called to go back. So this pointer is gonna go back and then retransmit everything again to correct the error. Okay. Again, look, before I take any question, look, if everything is good, how it should work. If everything is okay, I'm gonna tell you how it should work. Look here. For example, here you have a window this way. For example, the window is 4, okay? And then you transmit, for example, you are transmitting this one, and then you received acknowledgement for this one. So the window has to move this way to enter a new one. So what should happen? Look here. This is the window. Is that okay? If everything is okay, this is the window. Okay. Now, every time you receive acknowledgement, so I'm gonna move the window this. Okay, and then I'm gonna enter a new frame to save. So if there is no error, we are gonna keep submitting all the time, right? Because the window is gonna slide this way all the time. Okay, but the problem happens if I don't receive acknowledgement. If I don't receive acknowledgement, so this one is not gonna move. This one. Yeah. So if I don't receive acknowledgement, so this one you are gonna transmit until the end. And I didn't receive any acknowledgement after transmit 15. After transmit 15 frames, I didn't receive any acknowledgement. And this shouldn't happen unless something wrong happened. A frame is not delivered, or a frame was delivered, but it had an error, right? That's why the sender didn't send you an acknowledgement because of that. So in this case, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna go back and to transmit everything again. The 15 again. You got what I'm saying? Any questions? Yes, sure. Yes. Yes. So what's gonna happen? It's pointing at the first, at the oldest frame I've seen, but it's not acknowledged yet. Okay? SM, this is what I can transmit right now. Once I transmit, everything I transmit is going to move this. Once it's in, alright, it's in here, okay, that means I sent 15 frames and none of them was acknowledged. Something is wrong. So in this case, this one is gonna come back to the beginning again. That's why go back in, and in is the place of the screen. So I'm gonna go back in and retransmit again. No, you can. This is just an example. N is the window size. This is something you can negotiate with the receiver about it. So here, to understand what I explained here. So as you see here, this is the window. You should understand what this point. You should understand, number one, the window size is fixed. The size is fixed. Number two, okay. By the way, there is sometimes we can change the size, but forget it for now. Okay. So we assume the size of window size is fixed. Number two, we have 2 pointers. One pointer is gonna tell me, it's gonna point at the oldest frame that's not acknowledged. This pointer is going to tell me which frame I can send right now. And this one should not get out of the window. So once this one come to here, it has to come back to the beginning again. It shouldn't get out of the window because it's not allowed to send more than 15 without acknowledgement. That's why I'm going to keep you in the window, right? Because the only way this window is going to slide is receiving acknowledgement. If I don't receive acknowledgement, I'm going to keep you here, right? So I'm not going to go outside because it's not allowed to send more than 15 frames without acknowledgement. Is that okay? So that's why if you see this one this way, and then here, what happens here, as I told you, if I receive the acknowledgement for 0, so the window is going to slide one frame. If I receive the acknowledgement for 1, the window is gonna slide. If I receive for 2, the window is gonna slide. So the window is sliding. And as long as here I have frames to send, as long as I have frames to send inside the window, I'm gonna keep sending. There's one thing also you should understand here is, you will understand better later, but for now, as I told you, I'm expecting frame number 0. I'm expecting acknowledgement for 0. Once I receive the acknowledgement, I'm gonna slide the window one step, one frame. Is that okay? Okay. Look here. What if I receive, like in this case, I receive acknowledgement for 2, not 0? Okay. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm expecting I should receive 0, 1, 2. But maybe you send 0, 1, but they are dropped. The acknowledgement are dropped. Look here what I want to see. In this scheme, okay, the receiver should receive frames in order. Okay? That means, what do you mean by in order? I mean, I have, as a sender, I have to receive 0. After 0, I have to receive 1. After 1, I have to receive 2. Is that okay? In order. What if you don't receive 2 and you receive 3, 4, 5? Here we assume the receiver does not have a buffer. I'm not going to buffer 3, 4, 5 and then reorder them. I'm not going to do this. You got what I'm saying? So I only acknowledge frames that are in order. You got what I'm saying? Because of that, if you send me acknowledgement for frame 2, that means you already received 0 and 1 and 0 and 1 and 2. You got what I'm saying? So that's why here, even what I want to see here, even if I don't receive acknowledgement for 0 or acknowledgement for 1, If you send me acknowledgement for 2, that means you already received 0 and 1. Because you are not going to acknowledge any frame unless you receive the previous one. Because you have to receive them in order. So that is why, and that's what we call, by the way, this has a name. We call it, let me see here, I wrote it somewhere. Yeah, that's what we call cumulative acknowledgement. So cumulative acknowledgement, it means if I receive acknowledgement for frame number n, that means you are telling me I received everything until n. It's not selective. You got what I'm saying? So here, that is why in this example, if this is the window and then I receive acknowledgement for 2, so what's going to happen? If you send me acknowledgement for 2, you are telling me you received 2, okay? Because you are telling me you received 2, that means you received 0 and 1. So I'm going to move the window this way. You got it? Because you are not going to send acknowledgement for 2 if you didn't receive 0 or 1. You understand what I'm saying? So if you didn't receive 0 or 1, you're not going to send acknowledgement for 2. So once I receive acknowledgement for 2, that means you already received 0 and 1. You got what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying here. So it doesn't need to be, I have to receive acknowledgement for 0, for 1, for 2. It doesn't need to be this way. Okay? Maybe you sent them, but they are dropped. Maybe. But once I receive acknowledgement for any frame, that means you already received the previous ones. Any questions? Okay. So you understand the idea, the concept of window. What is window? Window is just a group of frames that I'm allowed to transmit frames as long as it is in this window, right? So if once I come to here, I'm not going to go outside because it's not allowed to transmit anything frames that can't be sent. I can't send frames because it's outside the window. So you should understand what I mean by window. You should understand the idea of how window is going to slide. Every time you receive acknowledgement, I'm going to slide it. Okay. Window is going to restrict how many frames you can transmit before you receive acknowledgement for them, right? So the window, this window should be here, should solve the problem I explained here when you have the bad utilization of the channel. So in this case, if the channel, to keep the channel busy all the time, I need 20,000 bits. So I have to make sure this window, the window should be enough for 20,000 bits to keep the channel busy all the time. Okay? You understand? Because if the window has 15 frames, so that means I can transmit up to 15 frames before I receive acknowledgement. You get what I'm saying? Or I can have 15 frame in flight. Okay. Let's take the attendance. Eight zero six one. 8061. Please, next time, if you come after 19, don't enter the classroom, please. It's not. Only 15 minutes are left in the lecture of 20 minutes. Anyway, so 8061. Are you done? Are you done? Should I turn it off? Okay. Okay. At the receiver side, as I told you, the receiver does not have a buffer. It does not receive frames out of order and then it's gonna order it. No, this would be in the next scheme, not this one. Okay, in that, because the next scheme is gonna be more complicated. But here at the receiver side, as you see here, I mean, we have like, you can think like a window. It's not a window, but you can think it's like a window, but the side of this window is only one frame. So at the receiver side here, for example, I have a pointer, I'm gonna call it Rn. So here I'm expecting number 3. I'm expecting frame number 3 at the receiver side because I have to receive them in order. So if you send me frame number 3, so I'm gonna shift this one. So now I'm expecting 4. If you get me 3, okay? I'm expecting 4. If you send me 5 or 6 or 7, I'm gonna discard them because I don't have buffer to store them and reorder them. I'm gonna discard them. I have to receive them in order. What I'm saying. So you will see some examples now. Let's see one example that's error free. There is no error. Okay. For example, as you see here, this is a window. So here we are here. The pointer is here. So I'm gonna transmit frame number 0 as you see. Frame number 0. I'm gonna transmit frame number 0. At the center side here, I'm expecting frame number 0. Once I receive frame number 0, I'm gonna move the pointer. As you see here, I'm gonna move the pointer to frame number 1. Once I receive frame number 0, I'm only expecting 1. The window is only 1 frame. Okay. So here I'm expecting only 1, right? So and then I sent acknowledgement. Okay. So here I sent acknowledgement for 2. So acknowledgement 2 means I'm expecting 2. That means I already received 0 and 1. Okay, I already received 0 and 1. So once I receive 1, as you see here, so I'm gonna move it to 2. So now I'm expecting frame number 2. Is that okay? So here, that's exactly what I told you. Once you send me acknowledgement for 2, that means you already received 0 and 1. So you don't need to send acknowledgement for 0 and then acknowledgement for 1. Once I receive this one, I understand you will receive all the previous one, because here you only accept frames in order. Okay, so that's why once I receive this one, look what's gonna happen here. The window is gonna slide because you already it's gonna slide two frames as you see here. Okay? And then after that, you send frame number 2 here. So SN is here. You send frame number 2. And then after you receive 2, RN is going to move to 3. I'm waiting 3. I'm expecting 3. You send acknowledgement. When you send this acknowledgement, this window, every time you can see, every time I receive acknowledgement here, the window is going to slide. The window is going to slide every time I receive an acknowledgement. Okay. Any questions? Every time I receive a frame here, I'm gonna move the pointer this way. Okay. In the very beginning, I'm expecting 0. Once I receive 0, so now I'm expecting 1. Okay. So I'm gonna receive 1. Okay. Same thing here. Once I receive 1, I'm expecting 2. Once I receive 2, I'm expecting 3, and same. That okay. Here, every time you send a frame, SN is gonna move this way. Okay, in the very beginning, SN is here. I sent a frame 0. SN is gonna move to here. You sent a frame 1. Okay, but before, when I sent frame 1, SN is here. Okay, because I sent 0 and 1. When I received acknowledgement here, every time I receive acknowledgement, the window is gonna slide. Okay, because the window means I sent the frame 0, frame 1, but it's not acknowledged. Once I acknowledgement, as you see here, so they have to be outside the window. I have to move the window. Okay. I have to input 3 and 2, 3 and 0 now, because these ones are done and acknowledged. Number 2 is not acknowledgement. So this one is sent, but not acknowledgement. These two are not sent yet. But it's allowed for me to send them. Let's have some errors. What happens when there is an error? Okay, look here. What happens when there is an error? First of all, you send frame 0. I acknowledge it. Okay, I'm happy. You are happy. Everybody is happy. You send the frame number 1 and I acknowledge it. Okay, you are happy. You send the frame number 2. I acknowledge it. Okay, you are happy. The problem happens right now. You sent the frame number 3, but frame number 3 was not delivered. So as a receiver, I didn't see frame number 3. Okay, as a sender, you don't know that frame number 3 was not delivered. You don't know yet, right? So you are going to keep sending whatever you have in the window. So here we have window of 4. Okay, so the window has 3, 4, 5, 6. You sent 3, but 3 is not delivered. So you are going to continue sending. So you are going to send the 4. You are going to send the 5. You are going to send number 6. And because they are out of order, I'm not going to acknowledge them because they are out of order. I received them, but I'm not gonna reorder them. Okay, I'm not. So I'm not gonna, because I'm expecting only 3. If you send anything after 3, I'm gonna discard it. So I'm gonna discard these ones. Okay. And now what should I do when there is an error? So at this moment, I figured out something is wrong, right? So here. When you sent me frame number 2, I received the frame number 2, and then I received the frame number 4. I didn't receive 3. So at this moment, something is wrong for sure, right? Because it was supposed to receive 3. I didn't receive number 3. Is that okay? As a receiver, what should I do? Simply, you can just keep silent. Don't do anything. Because if I don't do anything, the sender is going to keep sending until the window is exhausted, and then it's going to repeat again. And that's exactly what happened. So what happened here? Yes, here I figured out something is wrong. Okay, so I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to keep silent. So I'm going to keep sending until the window is exhausted. And here the window is 4. So once the window is exhausted, you are going to go back and send everything again, as you see here, retransmission. So any questions? I think I have also, I have something like an improvement to this idea a little bit. So still we need timer here. Okay. So what I told you here is that we have a window. When the window is exhausted, you are going to retransmit everything again. Is that okay? What if I have a window and the window, for example, is 4, but I have only 2 frames. I sent you 2 frames, and the 2 frames are not acknowledged yet, right? What should I do? I have to transmit more until it is exhausted. That's what I'm assuming, right? What if I don't have more frames? I don't have more frames to send. You got what I'm saying? So the idea of window alone is not enough. It's not going to handle this situation. So the idea of window is every time I have 4 in the window is exhausted, I'm going to retransmit. What if the window is not, it will never be exhausted because I don't have more frames to send. Okay, so that's why we are going to use also a timer as well. So with the window, I'm going to also use a timer. So the idea of the timer is that every time I transmit a frame, okay, I'm going to turn a timer on. I'm going to fire a timer, okay? Once the timer expires, okay, after time out, and if I don't receive acknowledgement for this one, I'm going to transmit everything again. So now there are 2 cases. Now I'm going to add one more case. I'm going to transmit everything again in one of 2 cases. Number 1, the window is exhausted. You transmit everything in the window and you don't receive any acknowledgement. I'm going to go back, transmit everything. Number 2, I received a frame, okay, and then after time out, this frame was not acknowledged. Okay, so I'm gonna go back and transmit everything again. So instead of 1 case, I need also to have the timer, because maybe I don't have enough frames to I don't have more. So if I don't have more frames to transmit, the window will never be exhausted. Okay, so as you see here in this picture, So if you see here, I transmit 0, you acknowledge means 0, it's okay. You transmit 1, I acknowledgement 1 is okay. Now you transmit number 2, but there was an error in number 2. Error in number 2. So here every time you transmit a frame, I'm gonna, after a timeout here, you are gonna go back and transmit everything again, as you see here. Everything you transmitted here. So 2, 3, 4 until 8, 2, 3, 4 until 8. So you're going to retransmit everything again. Okay. So again, we are going to go back and transmit everything in one of two cases. Number one, the window is exhausted. You transmit everything in the window. Number two, in case of timeout. Okay. I have here several examples to better understand the idea here. Here, I want to show you in case of lost frame. So if you see here, this is the original window. Okay, the 2 pointers are here because I didn't send anything yet. Okay, I sent frame number 0 as you see. So SF is here. SN is gonna move. Always remember, SF is gonna be the beginning, the oldest frame I sent, but it was not acknowledged. Okay. SN always is going to tell you which frame you can send right now. So it's here. So this frame is not sent yet, but I can send it. Okay, but this one is going to tell you the beginning of the window. Okay. Anyway, so in the very beginning, as you see here, SF is here. That means this one is sent, but it's not acknowledged yet. Now this is the turn. This is the turn for one to send. So here, when you send frame 0 at the receiver side, as you see here, I'm expecting 0. Once I receive 0, so I'm going to move Rn this way. So every time I receive, and I have to receive them in order. Okay. So when I receive it in order, so here is going to be here. Then I'm going to send acknowledgement. Once you receive the acknowledgement, the window has to slide, and that's exactly what I did. So I moved the window this way. Yeah, here, as you see here. Okay. Because I received this acknowledgement. Now you send a frame number 1, as you see here, but this frame is lost. I lost this frame. Is that okay? So now what's going to happen here is at the receiver side here, I'm expecting frame number 1, but I didn't receive 1. And then you are going to keep submitting, right? You keep sending. So you're going to send the 2 and the 3. So now I received the 2 and I got 2 and the 3, but they are out of order. That is why I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to receive them, right? They come to me, but they out of order. That's why I'm not going to, no action. I'm going to keep silent, no action. And then what's going to happen at the receiver side, either time out or the window is expired. In this case, time out, because of the time out, you are going to retransmit 1, 2, 3 again. After time out. So after time out, you are going to transmit 1, 2, 3 again. Once you transmit 1, 2, 3 again, okay, now I can send acknowledgement and I move Rn here, this one. So again, at the receiver side, I receive frames only in order. Only in order. Is that okay? Can anybody tell me what is bad? What is bad in this? Look here and tell me what is bad in this scheme, and that's what we are going to correct in the next one, in the selective. What's bad here? Yes, because no, it's not, because you already frame 2 and the frame 3 already received, right? But you need to repeat them again. Okay, because here I'm expecting them in order. So the bad thing here, every time the receiver has to receive them in order. Although frame 2 and 3 already delivered, right? So you are going to reset them again. So in order, and that's what we are going to do in the next one, and we are going to make it more complicated now. So here at the receiver side, you have to keep track of which is here. The window cannot be only 1 frame, as it is here, because I can receive more than 1. It's a little more complicated as you see it. Okay, so yes, here this one is simple. That's always we should understand. If I want to improve a scheme, it has to be more complicated. So it should be more resources to do that. communication, more memory, and so on. Okay, so here again, yeah, although this is a problem here, but in order to fix it, you will see later. This one is too simple now. The receiver is too simple. It doesn't do anything. It's just very simple. But it has to be more complicated in the when if I don't want to transmit, because this is like redundancy, right? So you are not again, you are not fully utilize the channel. I have a channel, okay, and then you repeat the data. You repeat the summation of the data, right? So it's not a good idea for sure, and we're gonna improve it later. Okay. Okay, let's see another example here. In case of lost acknowledgement. So here you sent a frame number 0, as you see here. I'm expecting 0. So you sent a frame number 0. Okay, so I'm expecting number 1. I'm gonna put this one here. Okay, this way. I'm expecting 1, and then I'm gonna send acknowledgement for 1. Okay, that means as I told you before, acknowledgement for 1 means I received 0. I'm expecting 1. Okay? Anyway, so now and then you are gonna send here 1. Now I sent acknowledgement for 2, but this one was not delivered. The receiver does not know that the acknowledgement was not delivered. It doesn't know. Okay, but the sender is gonna keep sending. So the sender is gonna send frame 2 and frame 3. Okay, and then I'm gonna send acknowledgement for 3 and acknowledgement for 4. Do we have any problem here? The answer is no. We don't have any problem. Do I need to resend as I did here? What I did here, when a frame is lost, I have to resend the frames again. Should I do the same thing in acknowledgement? If acknowledgement number 2, it was not delivered. Do I need to send it again? The answer is no, you don't need. Why? Because as I told you before, once I receive, because you are receiving in order. So once I receive acknowledgement for 3, you are telling me I didn't receive everything before 3. What I'm saying? That's exactly what happened here. Look here. So when I received the acknowledgement for 3, the window is going to be moved by 2. Right? So you don't need to retransmit, because here you are receiving in order. So once I receive, so you don't need to do anything. Just if you acknowledgement the next frame, it's okay. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Any questions? So you don't need to send acknowledgement for 2. Acknowledgement for frame in, it means you acknowledgement everything before n. This is here. Why? Because you receive them in order. So if you tell me I received the frame number 10, that means you print everything before that, because you received them in order here. Yes. What is that? What's your question? For acknowledgement? For acknowledgement, in order you need to tell the sender if you received the data or not. So what do you mean by acknowledgement is not important? What do you mean by that? You mean, so every time the center needs to know if it is delivered or not. You get what I'm saying? So that's why here when I received 1, I transmit acknowledgement, but it was not delivered. Is that okay? That is why I didn't move the window. Okay. But now, because I received acknowledgement for 3 and acknowledgement 3, that means you receive everything before 3. So I moved the window here twice. Yes. Oh yeah, it can happen. You have to make sure the window is not exhausted, because if the window is exhausted, you are going to transmit everything. You get what I'm saying? Maybe what you want to say, if I transmit 1 acknowledgement before the window, before the window is exhausted, okay, maybe okay. You get what I'm saying? But if the window is exhausted, so regarding your question here, for example, if if this acknowledgement was not if all of them are not delivered, all acknowledgement are not delivered, you know what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? The window is gonna be exhausted and then transmit again, transmit again, transmit again. Okay, the window is gonna be exhausted all the time. What I'm saying. So I think what I understand from your question, if I have a window, right? If I receive acknowledgement here, okay, so that means it should be enough before it is expired, so that you are gonna move it this way. The answer is yes. ما انت مش ضمنك ان 4 هيوصل. يعني ما هنا انا بعت واحد وما وصل، اثنين وما وصلش. انت فاهمه؟ يعني انا هنا بعت 2 وما وصلش. يعني مثلا لو انت عايز تعملي acknowledgement for more than 1 yes you can do that. Okay, before it is exhausted yes you can do that. It's gonna have the same impact. Yes. But ايش حرفك بقى حظك مش كويس you sent it and it's not delivered. You get what I'm saying? So if I say مثلا انا هبعت هنا وانت ضامنه ان ده يوصل ممكن ما يوصلش. It's same thing happened here. Okay. Anyway, oops. So last thing I want to teach here before I end the lecture is just a very simple modification, very small improvement to what I explained before. Okay, by using what we call negative acknowledgement. Okay, let me explain the idea here quickly. Very simple improvement. Look what should happen. What should happen here, as I told you, if you send 0 and then you receive acknowledgement for 0. Okay, that's okay. And then you sent frame number 1, but frame number 1 was not delivered. Okay, and then I received number 2. So at this moment, once I received number 2 and I was expecting frame number 1, I'm gonna know something is wrong happened. Is that okay? So here I received 0 until I received 1. So at this moment, I know something wrong is happening. So what should I do? As I explained before, just to keep silent. And when the window is expired, is exhausted, everything will be transmitted again. Is that okay? Can we enhance this idea? Can we do better? Right? Can we speed up the process? Why I have to wait? Why I have to wait until it is exhausted, until you transmit it again? Yes, we can improve it. How can you improve it? Once you discover an error, you don't need to wait, because waiting is bad. You are going to waste too much time to wait until the window is exhausted. What's going to happen here, as you see, once you discover an error, you receive 1 and then you receive 2. You receive 0 and 2 and then receive 1, right? At this point, I'm going to say negative acknowledgement. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to keep silent. No, I'm not going to keep silent. I'm going to send a negative acknowledgement. Hopefully, this negative acknowledgement is received before the window expires. Okay, so that you can go back and retransmit everything again, just to speed up the process. Instead of waiting until the window is expired, no, once you discover an error, please let me know. Okay, to retransmit fast. Okay, just any question? So anyway, we're going to continue next time. As you know, this chapter is not going to be in the midterm. Okay, midterm from 1 to 4. Yes.